What's going on, everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Zimaboard. Now this has actually been on the market for a while and I've had my eye on it. And of course, when we think about single board computers, the first thing that comes to mind is the Raspberry Pi. And of course, it's a great ARM-based single board computer. Stock has been going up a little bit, so it might be a little easier to get your hands on, but if you're looking for a little bit of a change and something with a bit more power, then the Zimaboard might be for you. So when it comes to the Zimaboard, this is an X86 SBC. They're advertising it as a personal cloud single board computer. You can set it up as a software router. You could even use it as a desktop. And overall, everything that I've seen so far looks very, very promising. Now, personally, I do like the design they've come up with. We've got an aluminum heatsink on the top, so we don't need to worry about active cooling. And when it comes to I/O, you can expand on this greatly because we've actually got a PCIe slot over here. And yeah, this will work with a GPU. It's got two SATA ports on the bottom, two USB 3.0 ports, dual gigabit Ethernet. And you can pick this up with either 2 cores or 4 cores. And remember, both of them are going to be X86 CPUs. So this actually gives us a lot of options for operating systems, but this comes with CasaOS pre-installed, and we will be taking a look at it. I personally think it's a really nice little operating system. But inside of the box with the Zimaboard, you're also going to get a SATA connector, so we can connect a 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch drive to this, and our power supply runs on 12 volts. Taking a look at the I/O, over here on this side, we get 2 full-size USB 3.0 ports. We also have dual gigabit Ethernet ports here and mini display port out. Over here on this side, we get 2 SATA 6 gig ports, plus we've got power right in the middle for that SATA. Now we get that one connector, but this will actually send enough power from the included power supply to do 2 3.5 inch drives. And finally, over here, we get one PCIe slot. Now this is 2.0 x4 and it is slotted, so we can basically fit any card in here, and it will support a GPU, it'll support network cards, it'll support more storage. It's really up to you how you want to set this thing up. There are a few different configurations that you can choose from over on the website, but right now we're working with the Zimaboard 832. And with this, we get the Intel Celeron N3450. 4 cores up to 2.2 gigahertz. Built-in Intel UHD 500 graphics up to 700 megahertz. We've got 8 gigabytes of non-user replaceable LPDDR4 RAM, 32 gigabytes of eMMC 5.1 storage, plus we could actually boot from the SATA drives or even over that PCIe if we wanted to. And this system out of the box is running CasaOS, which is based on Debian 11 at the time of making this video, but we've got an x86 platform, so you could install Windows if you really wanted to. Attaching extra storage to the Zimaboard is super easy. It comes with a single adapter, so you can just go with the 2.5 inch drive if you want to, mechanical or SSD. It'll also work with a 3.5 inch drive. But they do sell some extras, like the dual SATA connector. That way we can have 2 drives here, and like I mentioned, we do have enough power to go with 2 3.5 inch drives on this unit. Now with all of the storage options we have, we can actually go up to 36 terabytes of storage on the Zimaboard, and that's pretty awesome. I mean, you can definitely set up a nice little server, but one thing that I really like about this is that PCIe slot. So I've personally tested a GTX 1650 low profile, and with this I did use a higher wattage power supply, 12 volts, 10 amps, just to make sure I had enough to send everything over there, and it does work. It's pretty cool to see an SBC that will support a graphics card, and if you're interested in seeing a dedicated video, definitely let me know in the comments below. Okay, so jumping right into it, like I mentioned, we've got CasaOS pre-installed out of the box. It's on the eMMC. You can run from an external drive if you wanted to. This is based on Debian, and it's really snappy. Personally, love the way it looks. Obviously, we're using the GNOME interface here. And if I run NeoFetch, we can take a look at everything here. Debian 11, kernel 5.10, resolution is set up for 1920 by 1080 right now, GNOME interface. We've got that Intel Celeron 3450, 4 cores up to 2.2 gigahertz, and this is the 8 gigabyte board. You can pick this up with either 2, 4, or 8. I think this is the highest end model that they make right now. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot quicker than I thought it would be. To tell you the truth, using that older Intel 3450, I was afraid that everything would be lagging, but even with GNOME here, it's not bad. Now you could go with a different desktop interface if you want to, but personally I do like the way this looks. And since I'm not running into any issues with it, I'm going to kind of keep it just like this. Lots of great stuff already pre-installed here with this operating system. A couple games that you can mess around with. Obviously we've got a sound recorder, calculator. Docker is pre-installed. And we've also got the software center. right here. So if you don't feel like messing around with terminal and you just want to grab a quick app, you can actually open this up. Everything's updated right now with the system that I'm running. Just went through all of the basics just to get everything updated. And really, I've been impressed with the performance here. So obviously, this is made to be kind of a home cloud server or a home server. We can attach a bunch of storage to this device. We can install different applications to control our in-home lights, everything like that. We've got Linux on an x86 platform, so there's actually a lot that we can do here with this little board. And first and foremost, they're advertising this as a little cloud server that you could set up pretty easily in home, but you could also get by using this as a simple desktop PC also. It's not going to be the most powerful, but we've got all the basics here. You want to do some web browsing, checking some emails, some document editing, even some light photo editing on the 4 or the 8 GB model would work on this little board. We don't have the most powerful CPU and GPU, but we can always add an external GPU. Not sure how well it will work, and if there's a big interest, let me know in the comments below. I can do a separate video. We'll install Steam and something like a GTX 1650 to see what this thing does. But even with the 1650, we will be held back a bit by the CPU, but overall, not a bad little system, pretty snappy for what we have here. Now it's great and all to be able to run this directly from video out to a monitor, but the way they've got this set up, it's actually really easy to access remotely. So I'm going to move over to another PC and we're going to connect to this over network real quick. So accessing the Zimaboard with CasaOS installed from any other PC is actually really simple. You're just going to open up a browser, type in your IP. As long as you're on the same network, you'll be able to reach your Zimaboard. And if you set everything up correctly, you can access this remotely. I've just got it set up on my home network. Just makes it a lot easier to get into. And right now, I'm just connected from another PC. Really nice little interface, gives us our RAM usage, CPU usage. It'll also show us the wattage and Celsius here. Widget settings, we can go ahead and disable some of these if we don't want to see them. And we can remotely install different applications directly from here. Going into our files, we've got our downloads. You can set up different directories if you need to. Basically, we're just kind of jacked in to this over network. And if I've got anything on the Zimaboard, be it on the internal eMMC, an M.2 over that PCIe slot, or even SATA drives connected, I can access it from here very easily. Really like the interface, super easy to use. We've got tons of different applications that we can install and use if we need to. All the information we need is on screen at any given time. And this is actually really awesome. They've set this up very nicely. I'm actually starting to enjoy using CasaOS. I did run a few speed tests on a couple different drives, and for the built-in eMMC storage, read about 159 megabytes per second, write 109. I also tested a 2.5-inch SSD using the 6 gig SATA port on the bottom, read 490, write 470, and an M.2 SSD using a PCIe adapter, read 1340, 1700. So using an M.2 SSD over that PCIe really gives us the speeds we need, and you can get an adapter to add a bunch of different drives to this unit here over that slot if you needed to. The last thing I wanted to touch on in this initial video was total system power consumption. So this is actually a very low powered system. It does come with a 35 watt power supply, but at idle, this is only pulling 4 watts from the wall, and that's with two 2.5-inch drives connected. And with two 2.5-inch drives connected over those 6 gig SATA ports at the bottom, kind of at full boat across the board, transferring data to both of them over network, I saw a maximum of 16 watts, but it dropped down to around 13 on average. Now, of course, we could get this thing to pull a lot more by connecting 2 3.5-inch drives or even more than that, plus a GPU connected over PCIe, but overall, it is a very low wattage system for what we have here. So yeah, it's actually not a bad little board. Kind of wish we had a more powerful CPU, but that PCIe could definitely make up for it if we have the right combination here, and I will make a video if everybody's interested, so definitely let me know in the comments below. It's not the most powerful single board computer on the market, but that's not what they were going for. They really wanted to make kind of an affordable little home cloud server, and I think they've accomplished it. We've got tons of storage options here with those 2 6 gig SATA ports and PCIe. Plus, it's running an X86 CPU, so we've got a lot of different operating systems that we can mess around with on this. I definitely want to spend a few more days with the Zimaboard, but so far everything's been going really well with it. But I'd like to know in the comments below what you want to see tested or what you want to see running on the Zimaboard. I definitely want to test the GPU over that PCIe slot, but if there's anything else, just let me know down below. And if you're interested in learning a little more, I'll leave some links in the description to the official Zimaboard website. I'll also leave some links to CasaOS and even Amazon, because you can pick this up over on Amazon also. But that's going to wrap it up for my first look video. And like always, thanks for watching.